That's
All right,
good.
Jess.
Ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it.
Here we go. Our club mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
Thank you so much, Jesse. Awesome job. And wanted to welcome Lexi. Lexi, you just blacked out on us. But if you wouldn't mind, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and tell us what brings you here today, that'd be great.
Okay, my name is Lexi Harshman. I live here in Carlsbad. I've always wanted to join Toastmasters, so I'm really happy that I'm here today. And I do need to learn how to speak in public. My current position is an operations manager at a nonprofit. So I do all sorts of things in operations and managing grants. So when I speak, it would be nice to be very confident in that.
Thank you so much. You came to the right place and you've got a really interesting background. We've got a lot of folks here with very interesting backgrounds as well. And as you get to know our group, it'll be a really nice fit. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. So everybody, before I hand it over, I don't know if any of you or how many of you saw the email that Lucille sent out, but she sent out a really interesting email with top tips using Zoom or using video conferencing and how to make yourself look better. And there were 7 different people that gave their biggest tips. So each person gave at least, I'd say about 6 different tips. So 6 times 7, you're looking at 42 suggestions on how to have better presence in video conferencing. So I'd encourage you to look at that. One of the things I remember that was on there is like, we're so used to being in the middle. And one of them was saying, try even, moving to the side a little bit, or you can start in the back and then walk closer. And another one said, instead of looking at the camera, look beyond the camera and visualize someone that you're talking to. So really interesting things. I encourage you to take a look at those tips. They're really short little snippets, but really good information. So thank you, Lucille. And with that, I would love to introduce our special Toastmaster and Table Topics Master today, and that's Stacy. So let's welcome Stacy.
Thank you so much, Deanna. I really work on making this as much fun as possible so that we all can be engaged and just partake and have some fun. So our theme of the day today is Earth Day. Thank you to Deanna for suggesting that. I thought that's a great theme. And I thought of a word of the day as being activist, which seems very suiting for Earth Day. And the noun version, or the noun meaning of activist, is a person who campaigns to bring about social or political change. The verb is campaigning to bring about political or social change. So the reason we have a word of the day for our guest, Lexi, is that we like when we do table topics, which is a short way, impromptu way of speaking, and you can participate if you want or not. It's up to you. To use the word activist when they speak for their table topics. And you qualify in a minute and 45 seconds, sorry, just 45 seconds you can qualify, and then we vote. So I'm going to introduce the roles and I'll let them explain what the roles are better than me, because we have a guest and she doesn't really know what we do. So I'm going to start out with our ah counter. And I said as soon as I said that. Our ah counter is Devin. Would you like to explain what you do?
Thank you, Stacy. As ah counter, I will be listening for the crutch filler words like ahs, ers, and then improper uses of so, and, but, and also things like a false start or Xerox, which is when you repeat the same word over again. And then at the end, I will tally them up and report them back.
Thank you, Devin, sorry. Get the D's mixed up. The next one is Corey, and Corey's going to explain to us what the Grammarian does.
Hi, everyone. I will be Grammarian today, and Grammarian is looking for interesting uses of the English language to improve our vocabulary. So I'm going to have a keen ear to anything that's interesting and unique and captivating and maybe exciting.
Thank you, Corey. Now, Lexi, we didn't explain to you why we're doing this with our hands. It's the, what is it, the hearing impaired or deaf sign for applause. And since a lot of us are muted most of the time, this is how we applaud. Moving right along, Paul is our timer today. So Paul, would you like to explain?
Sure. One of the things we do at Toastmasters is we like to stay on time. So during our table topics, our speeches, and our evaluations, you will see the background change. Lexi probably saw me fooling around trying to add the backgrounds to my Zoom. But as the time changes for when they need to wrap up, you'll see green, yellow, and then red means you're pretty much out of time. So you'll see that as we go through the discussion today.
Thank you, Paul. Last but not least is Jesse, our general evaluator.
Yeah, general evaluator looks over the whole meeting at the very end and just reports back. Were we on time and things like that? Maybe a little something about how the evaluators themselves did or anything that comes to mind that stands out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Hopefully when we meet in person, we remember to clap instead of do this. I don't know if you remember or not, but hopefully. Joke Master, Angelus, would you happen to have a really good joke for us today?
Hi, thank you, Stacy. I do have two jokes. Because of we're observing Earth Day, why are people always tired on Earth Day? Because they just finished a march. And then the second one.
Okay.
The second one, what did the ground say to the earthquake? You crack me up.
I've never heard that before. That's great. That's really good. Thank you. We have fun here, don't we? Yes, we do. So I'm going to introduce, we have two fabulous speakers today who are, both of them are very seasoned. And well, Christiana had just joined a little while back, but she's getting there. So speaker number one is Christiana. Her title of her speech is "The Future is Faster Than You Think." It's out of her presentation mastery for getting evaluation and feedback. Her timing will be 5 to 7 minutes for Paul. And her object is to practice the skills necessary to present well for, no, wait, I jumped down to Pat, sorry. Objective is to be a more effective storyteller and impactful presenter. So I'd like to introduce Christiana. The future is faster than you think. The future is faster than you think. Let's welcome Christiana.
Thank you, Stacy, our Toastmaster, and our Toastmasters Unlimited group. Pleasure to be here. As most of you know by now, I work for Qualcomm currently as an enterprise business development manager. And if you don't know what Qualcomm is or what they do, I'll give you our standard corporate messaging and excuse my capitalizing on this opportunity to practice evangelizing for them. But Qualcomm is the world's leading wireless technology innovator and the driving force behind the development, launch, and expansion of 5G. When we connected the phone to the internet, the mobile revolution was born. We bring the benefits of mobile to a bunch of new industries today, like automotive, robotics, compute, and extended reality. What we really do, in my opinion, is engineer very small system on a chips. They're about that big that go into the cell phone, these robots, and these extended reality headsets, which is actually what I'm going to talk about today. A really cool and innovative technology with a Qualcomm chip inside. It is the Oculus 2 Quest that is a collaboration between Qualcomm and Facebook. We worked on developing this for years, and today it's one of the most immersive extended reality technologies on the market. If you're wondering what extended reality is, I'll just talk about that real quick. So it's an umbrella term that encapsulates mixed reality, virtual reality, and augmented reality. And I could do an entire speech on what those things are, but what I want to focus on today is the out-of-box experience with this device, which was incredible. The box was super easy to open. The contents came out easily. But what I noticed right away is that there were no printed instructions. There were just a few diagrams telling me to put the device on, which I did. And wow, it just worked. Hovering in front of me in virtual space was guides on how to get started. It had me pick up these two hand controllers, which I did, configured them very easily. And then I was off to one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. And let me tell you what was going on with me before I put this headset on a couple of days ago. I've been working in my home office for about 3 days straight, only gone for a bike ride or walk my dog, and I was really starting to feel the pressure of isolation. When I put on that headset and got into this immersive world, that completely changed. My spirits were lifted. I was literally underwater with blue whales, and you know how much I love to be underwater. I was dancing with this character, this beautiful smile. I danced really well, and we were twirling around, and I couldn't stop smiling. It was great. So I wanted to show you a video of what that looks like, but it's too hard to switch. So I'll put the link to that video in the chat, and then you can go check it out. Definitely recommend it. I'm going to explore some of the other demos and probably purchase some of those underwater games. But before I do that, I'm going to actually get into reality. I'm going to go diving tomorrow and swim with some 7-gill sharks that are visiting our waters. On that note, I want to talk about reality and virtual reality. So there's a couple books out right now. One's called Ready Player One, which is turned into a movie. And there's another book called The Future is Faster Than You Think. I stole that title from my speech. And the premise of both of these books has to do with the risk of becoming too immersed in virtual reality and even becoming addicted to it. And I can tell you from my experience with this device, the lines are becoming blurred. Virtual reality and reality, very hard to distinguish the two. So I understand this risk, but I also think you become addicted to anything. So I'm not too worried about it. Speaking of addiction, remember I mentioned maybe I forgot to mention it, but my first experience with virtual reality was at a trade show a couple years ago. It was a military trade show. And one of the exhibitors had developed a system for treating post-traumatic stress disorder and addiction using virtual reality. They could put a patient into one of these headsets and re-expose them to either the addictive environment or triggers that cause their addiction or the traumatic environment and have them talk through their feelings while they're experiencing those virtual realities. Very effective and one of the applications for this device. So it's a common misconception that virtual reality is for gaming only. What I want to recommend is if you're interested in learning more about this, go to the Oculus 2 website. At the very bottom on the left, you can click on business applications and you can see videos of companies that are using this technology in their space. So they're using it, companies like Johnson & Johnson are using it for healthcare training. Companies like DHL are using it to configure warehouses, pretty powerful stuff. At some point in the future, we at Qualcomm envision the convergence of things like the smartphone, mobile VR headsets, and augmented reality glasses into this single extended wearable. Extended reality will probably start replacing all the screens in your life, including that big screen in your living room. Mobile extended reality actually has the potential to become one of the world's most ubiquitous and disruptive computing platforms, similar to the smartphone today. So the future really is faster than you think. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Christiana, that was wonderful. I hope the grammarian was paying attention. There was a lot of great words in there. And what an interesting speech that was. This is the time when we take a minute to write a little evaluation about what you loved about her speech, what you heard that was good, and maybe a little suggestion for some improvements. So I will time us for about a minute to do some evaluation. Maybe about 10 more seconds, just finish up what you're writing. Okay. We're moving into our second speaker, Pat. Pat is preparing for an interview. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. The objective is to practice the skills necessary to present well for an interview. Angelus is going to be the interviewer. So let's welcome Pat. Prepare for an interview, Pat, or prepare for an interview, Pat. Let's welcome Pat.
You're muted, Pat.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, Angelus. My name is Pat Hartley.
Hello, Pat. Thank you for coming in today to be interviewed for our KPBS TV video editor position. Are you, how's your day going today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for your time, for seeing me.
As you know, being a video editor takes many great skills. Is there something that, before we start, would you please tell us about yourself?
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. I lived my life mostly in California, grew up in San Diego since I was 10. For many years, I was a mechanic, about 15. And then I was laid off from there, and I transitioned to, I always loved the arts and theater, and I took some filmmaking classes, some broadcast television classes. From there, I transitioned to an internship at a TV station, and then got a job there, and I was video editor for a few years there. But overall, other than that, I like surfing, music, and filmmaking, and I think I'm kind of into mindfulness. I know that's a buzzword, but I think that translates into making me a better observer and editor, and as far as like sound design also.
Thank you. I know the film industry is a bit, it has its ups and downs. Is there anything that you find least enjoyable about this industry?
Well, working at the TV station, some of the stories are sometimes traumatic. There's a lot of bad news in the news sometimes, but there's also a lot of good news, like, you know, stories that uplift the community or uplift the voices of the community. So I believe it balances out you get the good with the bad, and you're informing the community of all the good things that are happening in the world, along with some of the bad.
With the goods and the bads, are there any accomplishments that you are most proud of?
Yes, making the career transition to broadcasting, I, spent a lot of hours, studying and learning new programs and learning cameras. And I was laid off from Toyota in 2011, and in 2018, I received an Emmy nomination for some of the video work that I did. And that was really rewarding to be recognized by my peers and acknowledged by my peers.
I know you mentioned that you were recognized with an Emmy nomination, but is there a time that you received any critical or constructive feedback about your work?
Yes, definitely. There's been, let me think about that for a second. There's been times where I've had to learn how to adjust my behavior and work with other people in my industry. And by, I practice mindfulness and just being aware of, other people's learning style or teaching style, and just working on my communication to just stay ahead of it, because a lot of people in the news industry, it's kind of chaotic, and it's hard to have the bandwidth to process all that, but I'm worked on it and just worked on my communication skills.
I know you mentioned the chaos in this industry. Do you have any strengths or weaknesses that you would like to mention?
I think my creative process is, I like to learn from others in the collaborative process so we can all work together. And I just love the filmmaking aspect of it, where you might not notice it, but little things like lighting, you don't notice it until it's not there. Or I like to add little sounds like, add that to a story, and people, it engages people. They become more aware of it. Like if I'm off center, that's the rule of thirds, and then I'm back in the center, or I'm getting an extreme close-up of people's hands or people's eyes, and then they're able to kind of pull them into the story. So I like that.
Before we finish our interview, is there anything that you like about our organization?
Oh yes, PBS is a great organization. I like their investigative stories, Frontline, and their stories for change, how they just do stories. There was a story about a toddler that was passed away in foster care, and they try to, bring honor to them and bring justice to them and uplift the stories of, people of color, indigenous people, and those are important to have all voices heard.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in today. We'll keep in contact.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for being generous with your time. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Pat. Great job. I love the getting up close. I think that's makes a really good point. So we will take another minute and write a nice evaluation for Pat. Angelus was the interviewer, so we don't have to write about Angelus, but write about Pat. So I'll give you a minute. Let's tie it up a little in about 10 seconds. Okay, time's up. Let's move on to introduce our general evaluator. I would like to introduce our general evaluator, Jesse. Are you there? Are you unmuted?
Yes, I'm here. I am
Okay.
here. I'm just curious, so are we having specific evaluators?
We have Deanna for Evaluator 1 and Lucille for Evaluator 2.
Oh, okay, great. And so I think that the meeting so far has gone fantastic. And I'm so happy that you stepped up, Stacy, and taking on both roles. That's incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do that. And both of these speeches were amazing.
Well, this is where you introduce our evaluators.
Oh, okay. I got a little confused.
That's okay. That's okay. You do that other part at the end.
First time I thought, okay, but we're going to switch it.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'll get to evaluate the whole meeting then. Okay, I am introducing, sorry, tell me, I'm introducing Lucille to evaluate.
This one. Deanna's the first.
And Deanna.
Right, sorry.
Okay, so Deanna will be the first evaluator and Lucille will be the second evaluator for the second speech. Thank you, sorry.
It's okay. Let's welcome Deanna.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Christiana, you did a fantastic job. First of all, I want to say that I love the background, and I also love that you were standing. So that was a good gesture to not just be sitting, but to make the extra effort to stand and do your speech. I also loved that you used really good hand gestures, especially with the one where you talked about how small the chip was and you really brought your fingers close to the camera. That was really interesting to watch. I also like that you had the sample of the Oculus and you put it on your head so we can actually see it. That was great to be able to demonstrate and show that to the audience. And also I liked your description of your words. I liked how you even said 7-gill shark. I mean, people can just say, I'm going to swim with sharks, but you specifically said 7-gill. And I'm thinking to myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know? So that was also a good way to verbalize and give us some descriptions. You also had, let's see, I could tell as the speech went on, you developed and showed more confidence. In the beginning, you were looking at your notes a little bit on the side. And as you started to talk about your personal experiences, it was very evident that you had more confidence and you were more engaging with the audience too. So I would say that's a really good thing to focus on, is bringing in your own personal experiences and try to rely less on the notes, but fantastic job right there. And I can't see the timer, so I'm on yellow. Okay. And I would say if you were to work on anything, perhaps working on putting in some pauses, a lot of really good information, but it's good to strategically insert some pauses where you want us to think about certain things or where you're transitioning from one topic to another. And the ending, I also think that it was a quick ending, abrupt ending. If you can develop your ending, that'd be something to end and encourage the audience to do next. What I would challenge you to do is, since your topic is to do the speech again and to apply the evaluations that people give you, I'd recommend doing it next week when we're meeting in front of everybody, because you can have that same experience of standing up, but now having to deal with the audience and getting feedback from people. I think that'll be a really interesting way to enhance yourself. Thanks.
Okay, Jesse, introduce Lucille.
Thank you, Deanna. That was great. Now, Lucille, I'm introducing Lucille, and she will give the evaluation for Pat.
Thank you, Jesse. Pat, I love the way you started off, even though you cuffed a little bit, but your hand gestures were very purposeful. I like that. You're animated, you look very natural and confident and authentic. So that is very good. The things that this is your interview and you were standing, and this is good for certain speeches, but for this particular one, because it is an interview and I'm gathering this is a virtual interview with a potential employer, and maybe sitting down would be more appropriate for this particular speech, since you are interviewing with somebody that's also sitting down. So that's just one thing that might enhance this one. Because if you go to an interview again, and I think you are actually practicing because you have a potential real interview coming, you might want to keep that in mind because your interviewer is sitting and you don't want to be standing for that. Other than that, really good. Just what I'd like to challenge you is watch for your fillers. There was a little bit of it, but what you did was very animated and you gave example for what she was asking you, and you did that very well. So thank you.
Oh, and now I will turn the meeting back over to Stacy.
Thank you so much, Jessie. I did miss the timers report, the first with the speakers. So I'd like to ask Paul to give a timers report for the speakers and the evaluators.
Sure. On speakers, Christiana was 558 and Pat was 613, so they both qualified. On the evaluations, Lucille was at 125, but Deanna was at 238. So Lucille qualified and Deanna did not.
Okay, thank you. Great job. So we are going to have a ballot come out after we do the table topics where we can vote for the best speaker, the best evaluator, and the best table topic. So we do it all at once. Let's go ahead and move forward and move into the table topics master. I'd like to introduce myself as the table topics master. Somehow today I got both roles, but we used to do it that way anyway, so it's not a problem for me. I really enjoyed doing both. Today, Earth Day is a really good subject for me because the word of the day is activist, which is something that I have really felt that I am. And an activist is a person who campaigns to bring about political or social change. And some of you might remember I did a speech a few years ago about bottled water. And that was part of my activism, I guess. So when we do the table topics, I hope that you will use the activist word in your speech. And I would like to ask Lexi if you are willing to participate, and we won't call on you first. We will let several people go before you. If you want to participate, say yes or no. It's up to you.
Yes.
You will? Okay, so we'll move forward and I will go ahead and talk about Earth Day and why it was celebrated, or why it's still celebrated. Earth Day is an annual event. It's celebrated around the world on April 22nd or somewhere around April 22nd. Usually it's a weekend. It's to demonstrate support for the environmental protection that was first observed on March 21st of 1970. How it started was in 1969, peace activist John McConnell was at a conference in San Francisco, and he proposed a day to honor the earth and the concepts of peace. Later, United States Senator Gaylord Nelson proposed the idea to hold a nationwide environmental teach-in on April 22nd, 1970. He hired a young activist, Dennis Hayes, to be the national coordinator. So together, Nelson and Hayes renamed the event Earth Day. More than 20 million people poured out onto the streets, and the first Earth Day remains the single largest single-day protest in human history. Wow, that's huge. And it now includes events coordinated globally by the Earth Day Network in more than 193 countries. That's almost all the countries. John McConnell's first interest in the Earth began in 1939 when he partnered with Albert Nobel, a chemist in the Nobel Research Laboratory in Los Angeles that built a factory for the manufacture of plastic. Anybody remember that? 1970. It's 1939 actually, realizing how much the manufacture of plastic polluted the Earth, his concern for ecology grew. And that's how Earth Day got started, was, to think about the environment, which we all need to do. So I'm going to ask some questions here pretty soon. I just wanted to mention a few things about water. 28 billion plastic bottles purchased annually in the US. 1.5 million barrels of oil is used to make those water bottles. $11 billion are spent on bottled water. Only 16% of them get recycled. So 2.5 million get discarded hourly. How's that for a fact? Hourly, 2.5 million. And we put 38 billion, that's with a B, water bottles per year into landfills. I think it's shocking. It's shocking. So I filter my own water and I refill my own bottle. So I don't buy those things. And besides, they're not good for you anyway. So my first question I'm going to ask of Megan. Megan, are you ready? Don't forget to unmute. Do you celebrate Earth Day? And if so, how do you celebrate? You got to mute yourself.
Okay.
Unmute. Here we go.
I think that the Earth Day that I celebrated was at the at one of the places that I go to. It's called the Comebackers, for a lot of the people who just had strokes or brain injuries, and they all came together they each had something that they said that they did to help the earth. And because they are the older generation, they do remember that you were asking about, Stacy, the 1939 or something. And so they were familiar with that. And a lot of them were very observant, and they were all activists towards helping the earth for the last couple of days they're here. All right, thank you. Oh wait, did I answer your question?
Oh, that was close enough. I think so. Yes. All right. Let's go with Devin for the second question. Devin, are you a recycler, and why are you a recycler if you are? And if you're not, why are you not?
I am a recycler. I think, well, all of our lives, I think in California, we've heard we should recycle. They start those programs in school teaching us how to do that. But I think the thing that really cinched it for me personally was seeing the trash island that's floating out in the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's insane when you see that, and what are we going to do about it? I'm not sure I would exactly call myself an activist, but in high school I was in a environmental club. We were called SEEP, so it was Students for Environmental Awareness and Protection. And we went around and encouraged our fellow students to recycle and save the local wildlife up in Ramona. So that was probably the closest I got to being an activist. But I do think taking care of the earth is important, though I do think it needs some broader strokes. When I see people focused on plastic straws, that's where I get a little yes, that's good, but that's not what's going to change things like Trash Island. So I think we do need a little bit more broader changes in how we manufacture things and how we get large companies to recycle, because I think a lot of the trash is coming from them as opposed to individuals.
Thank you, Devin. I really wanted to post a picture of that gyre that they have out in the ocean, but I'm not speaking today, so I decided not to. Next, I'd like to ask Angel a question. Angel, recycling can be a passion or not. Do you recycle only because you feel the pressure to do so, or because you care about the earth? Let's welcome Angel.
Thank you for that question, Stacy. It's a very interesting question, because if you'd asked me that a few years ago, I would say it was a real passion. and actually a passion that was given to me by my dad, because when I was growing up in the early 60s, it really wasn't a thing, but my dad did do it. He collected magazines, and I guess he was really an activist because he went to other people and got their newspapers and stuff. And our foyer was sort of filling up. He went to this place called the Recycling Center. Nobody knew what it was. I think my mom thought he was having an affair. But what is this thing called a recycling center? Anyway, he would head out every couple of weeks when he had enough stuff, mostly paper goods. We didn't have plastic bottles in those days. We drank from the tap. And the water in London was a lot tastier than the water here. But you see, now I got to come clean. I drink from plastic bottles now because other people buy them for me and I really like them. I know they're not good for me. I try not to ever refill them or leave them in the car to get warm up. That's the worst thing you can do, I believe. But I do use plastic bottles. However, we always recycle them and we drink from the tap when we're at home. So it's grab and go plastic. I did once find a moth in the bottle I was drinking from, and I swear I can never again drink from an aluminum bottle of any kind. I have to see what is in my straw. I do have the metal straws, but I can't bear to use them. So that's my recycling story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angel. That's a great story. I love it. How about we try Lexi and give her a chance to see how it goes. Lexi, I had a water filtration installed in my kitchen so I can refill my water bottle many times daily in order to keep from having to recycle plastic bottles. What is your habit for drinking water?
Thank you, Stacy. I actually am very interested in having that same system installed. But currently, I am refilling from the tap, and I think that it would be nice to. Oh, okay. Okay, so I need to talk about how I'm an activist.
Yes, you got it.
Okay. I'm actually not a recycling activist.
It's okay.
I don't really know what to say here. Wow.
The purpose is just to
I
use
do
the
what I
word
can.
activist. Yeah, you don't have to be an activist. You just have to use the word. You don't have to say what. Yeah.
Okay.
So you qualified already.
Okay.
You did. You qualified. Good. That's
Should I
good.
keep going?
You're green. The timer says green. So if you want to stop, you can.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
First time.
think I'll stop here. Thank you.
That's a good attempt. We love it.
That's right.
Yeah. My next question I'm going to ask, let's see, Jessie. Jessie, the use of paper products has increased quite a bit over the years. And when computers were invented, people thought, oh, well, everything will be on the computer and we won't need paper. But look at what we've done. People buy reams and boxes and all kinds of paper now. And I just wonder, are you recycling your paper and has your use gone up or has it gone down?
That's such a great question that you asked me. Thank you, Stacy. That I am a recycler and I do recycle paper and cardboard. However, where I live, it's kind of sad because they don't really have a recycle bin. And I've asked about it and they look at me a little like, what? No, we don't really recycle here. And then they finally came up with just a little tiny bin with, they said it was a recycling, but I use that for my paper products and any plastic and cardboard, but there's still tons of cardboard in the trash bin because there's really no big place to put it. Anyway, that's my gripe here. And I guess you could say I'd be an activist for recycling paper, at least here in my own little community. And I am an activist a bit too, and have been for picking up litter or not littering in the first place. And now my new activism is more towards the plastics and supporting the companies who are creating, I've heard, plastics that are actually very easily recyclable in the first place. and much more easily than they have been in the past. So I'm all about it. I don't get to go to Earth Day too often. I usually somehow miss it, but I know I have been at Earth Day in Balboa Park down in San Diego. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessie. I love that. I think you're doing a great job. Let's move on to one more, or maybe a few more. How about Angelus? I want to ask you a question. Do you recycle the papers you dispose of rather than tossing them in the trash?
Hi, thank you, Stacy. I mean, at work, we do recycle our papers because we design homes, so we're always taking up so much paper. But other than that, I mean, I did grow up recycling, bottles and cans, but that was more because it would give us like a little bit of extra income. I do still recycle that and give it to my brother so he could have some, extra money he can use to buy games or whatever he needs. I am not the biggest activist when it comes to recycling because honestly, I don't know if you guys know this, the bottles that you recycle, the plastic bottles that you recycle go to the recycling plant, right? And then after they go to the recycling plant, they chip them like really small, I think, and then they ship that to China. And that's why most of the things in China are made out of plastic. And when they bring those products back, you can't recycle those products because it's like, how does it compose into like different particles that you can't really recycle that kind of plastic. So I don't really see like where it could be like a good point. I mean, a good area where you could like recycle, do good for the environment, but also I don't really see what to do, you know? It kind of leaves me like on a standstill. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelus. Does that mean we should stop buying Chinese products? Maybe. Okay, Corey, I have a question for you. Can you think of an activist you've heard of or someone who's influenced you to change socially or politically, and who would that be and what was it about?
Thank you for that question, Stacy. You might not think of him as an activist, or maybe you do, but Jack Johnson is actually heavily involved in the Earth Day and activism in the surfing community and more of the, I don't know if hippie is the right word, but he's definitely involved in his music. And I think it's great because he opens people's eyes that, yeah, we only have one Earth and you better take care of it because the future generations will be suffering. And I love the Earth. As far as an activist, I don't know if I would say that I am, but I do consciously think about the Earth on a daily basis. And I think that's pretty important. Not Earth Day, but Earth Day every day, I think is important, just to think about what can you do. Those little things that you do, I think is important. Like if you see some trash on the ground, pick it up, put it in the recycling, turn off lights, recycle when you can. For paper, the last question was about paper. In my office, I don't recycle paper, but I think I should. If I got any Amazon boxes, it always goes to recycling. So I think just taking those little steps every day and just being conscious that, hey, we live in a world that there's only so much of it. The ocean is only going to be so nice for so long, and then it's gonna turn, and the future generations are not going to have that, are not going to enjoy that. So I think it's important just to think about that every day.
Thank you so much, Corey. Great job answering the question. I believe we've run out of time. I have more questions, but I'm just going to call it because we got 10 minutes left. I'd like to get a timer's report from Paul.
Everyone loved this topic today. Everybody was qualified. They spoke right up to it. Angelus, you're at like 138, and Corey, you're at 139, right at the level, but you still made it.
Awesome.
Everybody
Awesome.
qualified.
Great job. And Corey's our grammarian. He should be looking for the word of the day. Would you like to do a report on that?
Everyone said the word of the day. And then a couple interesting uses of the English language was Christina and her, she said extended reality, which I had to really think about that. That's a pretty cool word. Immersion, immersive world. Those are really cool, kind of make you think type of words. Pat said sound design, made you think on that one. And bandwidth, doesn't have the bandwidth to process. I thought those were good.
Thank you, Corey. Great job. I've lost my agenda. Here it is. Like to get a grammarian's report. No, I got the grammarians. I need to get the counters report. Can we have that from Devin?
Yes. So Deanna had one one but. Lucille, one but and one false start. Christiana, 4 ums. Pat, 2 ahs, 1 well, 1 but, and 1 false start. Angelus, 2 ahs, 1 1 so. Lexi, 3 ums. Paul, nothing. Stacy, 3 ums and 1 false start. Jesse, 1 but. Corey, 3 ums. Angel, 1 ah, 1 and 1 but. And Megan, 3 ums.
Thank you, Devin. Great job. No matter how long you do Toastmasters, you still have to work on that. And I'm a living example of that. So also our last report is going to be from Jessie Kiko. She's going to evaluate our meeting.
Very good. Thank you, Stacy. And once again, I'll take another crack at it. Thank you for coming in both as the Toastmaster and the Table Topics Master. You did a beautiful job. And thanks for Deanna getting us started on time. And we had some two great, fantastic speeches. I was actually mesmerized by both of you. And just very quickly, anyway, we had a technology company ourselves, so I was especially interested in the Qualcomm part, and of course I'm interested in broadcasting, so thank you, Pat, for showing us how to do interviews. And the evaluators, you both were amazing. Deanna giving us very specifics on all the great parts that Christiana did in her standing up and her examples and using the demo, and then just a little bit of overtime, which was fine. And then Lucille, you did the same, giving both all the strong points, and both of you gave things to be improved on. So thank you for that. And the flow of the meeting has gone really well, and I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody. And great job, timer.
So great job. Yeah, great job. I see we have a new visitor here. I wonder if it's just a phone number. Would you like to introduce yourself? Hello? Can you hear us? Maybe she's.
This is Lexi. My audio had dropped off.
Sure. Oh, this is Lexi.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes,
that's what
my
happened.
audio dropped off, so
Yeah,
I had to come back on. Thank you.
Okay, that's all right. Well, that happens. All right. Do we have, let's turn this over to Devin to announce the winners of the contest.
Okay. So this week, best speaker goes to Christiana. Congratulations. Lucille takes best evaluator. And Table Topics is Angelus. Congratulations.
Right. Great job. Everybody did such a great job. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to turn this back over to our president, Deanna.
Fantastic job, Stacy. Love the topic that Pat suggested for the theme and the word of the day. So good job with that. All right, Lexi, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us what you thought of the meeting, we would love to hear your feedback.
This is amazing. This is incredible. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This is really something that I could use, and I'm excited to attend the next meeting. And I really look forward to working on my skills with everyone. And it was so nice to see so many faces.
Thank you so much, Lexi. We love to have you. And it's great that
Thank you.
It's great that you noticed that your audio went down and then you dialed in. I love that. Being proactive, that's great. Okay, so while we're on the topic of next week and that you'd like to join us, we're actually meeting in person next week. And we are going to be at our old location, not so much in the building, but we will be in the park right next to it. So please bring something comfortable to sit on. If you have a folding chair, bring that. What we'll do is, in the beginning while we're all gathering, please have your mask on. And once you sit down, you're free to take that off. And I think that should be it for now, unless anybody has anything else that you want to comment on regarding our meeting next week.
If anyone needs a chair, say now, because I have two.
And Deanna, I don't think I'll be here next week.
Okay, all right. And what we'll do is the following week, we'll be back on Zoom. And what I'm thinking of doing is meeting twice a month in person. And we can do either the first and the third Friday or the second and the fourth Friday. But think about that for now. And then the next time when we get back on Zoom, we'll do a vote and we'll see what works out for people. So that way we have a hybrid of Zoom meetings as well as in-person meetings. That way we get the best of both worlds, right? Okay, and I want to just take a quick picture while I remember that. And Devin, you ready? Okay, all right, let's just do a quick picture. Okay, great, thanks everybody. And I want to give credit to our speakers today. Let me share our screen. All right, so today we have Pat. Pat, you just finished your level 3, right? I can't hear you if you responded, but that's wonderful. That
Yeah,
we have
thanks.
Yes, great. That's a feedback. Thank you so much. Good job. And we are going to celebrate that next week when we get together. You're going to get your certificate. And then we have Angela. Let's see. No.
Not me.
No cookies?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Did Chris, what?
Christiana. I'm drawing a blank, sorry. Okay, Christiana. Fantastic, got another check mark there. And you're almost halfway through your level 1. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Oh, I do have to, you have to share something else now. Since we're talking about the awards, we just need 2 people to qualify and complete their level 2s. And that will bring us to Presidential Distinguished Award. And that's something that's huge because that's something that we have been trying to accomplish the entire 6 months. 6 months? Or is it the entire year? What am I thinking? The entire year. So this is the culmination of the Toastmasters year. And by completing 2 more levels, we would have the highest accomplishment within the Toastmasters Club. So if we can get some volunteers to fill that, that would be amazing. All right, let me just share my screen again for next week. All right, can you all see that? You can unmute yourselves right now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So next week, we've got Paul as a Toastmaster. We have Charles as Table Topics Master. we've got an opening for speaker, evaluator, timer, and joke master. So please shout out, tell me which spots you want to take.
I'll do a speaker.
Okay, awesome. Who's that?
Corey.
Corey, all right.
Hey, Deanna, can you take me off Evaluator too? I'm number 2.
Oh, yeah. Good catch. Thank you, Paul. So I have 2 evaluator positions.
Hey, Deanna, I'll do the second speech like you suggested.
Okay, awesome. Devin or Corey, one of you want to let Christiana do the speech?
Sorry, I didn't realize you already had somebody. That's okay. I can do it next week. Sorry.
No.
I can postpone. I can do it the following week.
Okay, you want to do the following week on Zoom or do you want to do it in person?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, let's put you on the following week then.
Okay.
The 30th. And then the next time we get together, you can do something else.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, 2 evaluators. And a timer and a joke master.
I can be evaluator.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat. Another evaluator. And timer and joke master.
I can be timer.
Great. Who's that?
Christiana.
Christiana. Okay. Fantastic. 2 more spots. Let's fill it up for next week in person. Okay, I'll send out an email. All right, and I think that is it. Anything else? Did I forget anything?
Well, somebody's in the chat asking what's the deadline for.
I answered her.
Oh,
June
okay.
30th.
Cool.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Who was asking?
Angela.
Angela, are you volunteering?
Yeah, but I don't know when I could do my speeches. I have 3 speeches, so I could do that before that date.
Okay, excellent. So we can count on you to be one of the 2. And Christiana, you're halfway there, so you can be the other person.
What to do? What?
We need somebody to finish level 2. Oh, you're on level 1. That's right. You're halfway level 1. Darn. Devin, I just saw your hand go up. Yeehaw. All right. Great. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Nice. And we'll look forward to seeing you in person, Lexi. And Christiana, I haven't met you in person.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Have a good weekend.